Hi, Gwen. It's so good to have you here today. I want to start with you. I know you're living in Hemphill, Kentucky, an area that was once fueled by the coal industry that has been facing high rates of outmigration, unemployment, and the opioid crisis, all problems that are deeply affecting younger and older people. And I'd love for you to paint a picture for us of what life is like in your community and how your cogenerational program, Mamaw Mentorship, is offering a solution.
Some of the great challenges here are, of course, the economics of the area and not having enough to pay the monthly utilities, not having enough for groceries, not having enough for medicine or whatever the needs are there. And so it's just a wide range of problems. And from that has snowballed this thing. We hear a lot of talk about the opioid crisis, but a lot of times we think about the people doing the drugs, but not the people who are selling the drugs and what might be behind what they're doing. And so here we have a lot of people who have for generations had a side hustle of some kind that is illegal. Um, and it's kind of a mindset here. I have it myself. When push comes to shove and there's not enough, or there's a real big need, or the car breaks down, there's not enough credit that can be extended to take care of the need. We turn to illegal means, which is a quick way, to, in our terminology, we turn something, which means we turn something illegal into the money that we need. And so that's going on all over the place here. And more so with women than with men, because here in Appalachia, that old folk song, 59 cents to every man's dollar, is definitely still in effect.
Mm.
I myself came out of drug dealing and trying to make ends meet after I left my coal miner husband, whom I couldn't live with. And so I bought class rings and prom dresses for my girls and all the things that we needed by selling illegal drugs and moonshine. And so, and all that time I held down a job. It's not that these people are not working, but they are the working poor. And so, the opioid crisis has been fueled by, I believe it's a systemic problem. There have been physicians who come here because they can get forgiveness for student loans for coming here to practice, but they're not invested in the area or the people. And when the drug companies, big pharma came with, for instance, oxycodone, they dumped tons of it in these mountain communities and it hit the streets being peddled by people who didn't have enough uh, money to make ends meet. And so that is what our program, the Mamaw Mentors, that's what we are trying to keep from happening. There's people around us that their mom might have been a bootlegger in the Mamaw Mentors, or myself. I did we call it slanging. I did the illegal slinging something to make money myself. And so we've all been touched by that and touched by family members who have been caught up in the opioid crisis. We also, some of us are raising grandchildren because the parents are in jail. And so we know the cost of this whole thing firsthand. And so we're trying to battle it by going into the middle school and meeting with adolescent girls and boys because the boys really love us. When we go in, we had these really cool stickers made, and we were just going to give them to the girls because they have flowers on them. And the little boys coveted them such that we just gave all of them a sticker too.
Go ahead. So tell me more about when you are in the schools with the girls, how your relationship and the women that you're bringing in and the girls that are there form, and what are some of the things that you're seeing?
Well, we're just seeing all kinds of really positive things come from it. Um, we the first day we went in, we gathered on the sidewalk outside the school afterwards, and we were saying things like, "Oh my God, we thought we were coming for them."
Mm.
And this has been such a wonderful thing for us. And so we all recognize the benefits of being able to do that. And so the principal had told us we could come on Fridays. And every Friday, our little cohort, 4 to 6 of us, every Friday, have went into that school. And a teacher um, told me that she saw a disturbance outside. It was the second time we went, and that there was a disturbance outside the cafeteria door, and she thought there was a fight. The way kids will gather around, spectators with a fight. And so she started moving rapidly toward them, and she started hearing them say things like, "Oh, the Mamaws are back. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, Mamaw, Mamaw." And so we just really were happy to do that. And we went to graduation, to their 8th grade graduation, because they have that commencement service ceremony to pass them on into high school. And so we got all gussied up and went. And they were so happy to see us, and they were pointing out their parents and introducing us to their parents. And so, and they were like, "This is the Mamaws that come to school." And so that was a really rewarding thing to happen to us.
It just shows how much of an impact you're already making in the lives of the girls, but also the impact that they're making in your lives, right?
They for
Uh,
sure are.
and really fostering and building that community that sometimes can feel a little fragmented, or like you mentioned before, sometimes um, some of the family members may not be able to be there for them as consistently, and you're filling in that gap. And I'm curious, what are some of the things that you're seeing as you're building this community and filling that gap for the girls, and they're filling that gap for you and the mamas? How is that playing a role in economic opportunity?
Well, we discuss it a lot with them. We go in at lunchtime, and so we just kind of casually, sometimes we eat, sometimes we don't. But while they're eating their lunch, we converse back and forth. And even these kids in this economy are trying to side hustle. There's an entrepreneurial spirit here that's always been here. And it turns the wrong way when there's not enough. But for instance, there was a young man brought in he had like an old briefcase. And I said, "What's in that case?" And he said, "Oh, it's things I'm selling to make money." And I said, "So what are you selling?" And he had pencils, and he had ink pens, and he had notepads, and he had a bracelet and a necklace. It was just things that it looked like he had gathered out of his kitchen or his room. And so we made purchases from him and talked about um making money, and talked to him about his aspirations to be a businessman when he's grown. And then we often talk to the girls about college and careers and what do you aspire to be? Are you going to, do you think you'd like to be a nurse? Do you think you'd like to be a teacher? And so we're just conversing with them and talking to them about things that we know that sometimes kids don't get told here. Because we never had, when I was coming up, we never had a guidance counselor that told us there was financial aid for kids who couldn't afford college. And so I graduated high school and did not know that I could have went to school and just worked a job while I was in school. I didn't know that. And so we're making sure that they know that. We have hooked up with the local community college, and the psychology professor at the community college came and did some listening training for us,
Mm.
to help us with our listening skills. And so she also brought us lots of materials from the community college that we've got over here beside the door at the community center, and often talk to folks that we know are school age when they come in here. So we're trying to instill, um, to unbound the imagination, because we believe that the imagination of the people here has been bound up by the coal companies and their um it's I don't think, I don't even know if they did it purposefully, but what happened was their drive was to get the coal out of the ground and into the train and haul away the wealth. And so the economy that grew up around that was the service industry to coal mining families, which is what the women have always worked, restaurants and so forth. And a lot of that work went away with the downturn of the coal industry. A lot of businesses closed that were service businesses to coal mining families. And so it was like the mentality of the coal companies was, um, you just mine the coal and we'll make sure that everything else gets taken care of. Well, we know how that turned out for us, because they just, it was extractive
Right.
industry. I mean, so extractive that they extracted all the health from the coal miners. The coal got hauled away on the train, and um, if you got hurt, you just got pushed aside, and they replaced you with somebody else. So
Mm.
it's been a real sad thing, but because of that, the imagination has been bound, and
Right.
so we're trying to unbound it. Um, and I think that we're making some strides.
Yeah,
And
it's so exciting. I mean, I think even when you mentioned all the like noise and excitement that the kids are making because you're coming is showing is a result of that. And I'm curious if there's a story that you've or a child you've seen where you've maybe have seen that like aha moment happen for them where they've realized I can see something better for myself, or I've never thought of that. Have you seen that happen through your program?
yes, we have, because we discussed at the lunch table one day in particular with one of the girls who she came in and she had some, we call them hickeys around here. I don't know what they're called anywhere else, but she was an eighth grade girl and had these marks on her neck that had been made by someone who was kissing her and sucking on her neck. And when I saw him, I said, "What happened to your neck?" It's that we're just real candid with him. And she was like, "Oh, I burn it with my curling iron." And I said, "Yeah, that's what I said too when I was in 8th grade." And it sparked a whole big conversation around the table about, she said, "Oh, he's a real good guy. He's in the 8th grade, you know." And so, we were like, yeah, but before you know it, you'll have a baby on your hip, and there'll go your hopes. You'll have to put them on the back burner of going to college or whatever. And we had a long conversation with her. She didn't get mad at us, but it was like she could have this conversation with these older ladies, and we were not being condescending. Um, she could have this conversation with these friends of hers, these mammaws, without fear of her parents knowing what was going on. And so I just feel like these kids need this positive push, and the teachers there have been telling us, they'll say, well, some of them are really struggling. And I believe that that was one of the ones that was really struggling that day. That came in there, cutest little thing you ever saw, with that big mark on her neck. And so, we've not forgotten, and we're not judging, because we all been there, done that. But, I just feel like we can give them a positive nudge in the right way, and even maybe direct them into a pathway that they might not see clear to walk into on their own.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, as you are um in this, like seeing these unbounded dreams, basically like stripping all this away, um, what is that doing for the mamas, and also for their like, I guess, the relationship to the community that they live in? Um, and also, is it opening other types of economic opportunities for them as well?
I believe it is. We have um, been really conscious, all of us, and we've discussed it a lot, of how getting up, getting dressed, getting dressed up. When you're retired, you don't, I'm still doing that because I'm still working, but the majority of these mammals are not still working. And so just getting up and getting dressed and getting out. And then when we leave the school, you're ready for the rest of the day, where you can do something productive. And I just think it's been a wonderful thing for us. And I believe it will open up some opportunities, because I believe that there's opportunities for consultants. One of the mammaws has now went to work as a substitute teacher as
Mm.
well, and she was not a substitute teacher before we started going in there, but she just got so interested in what was going on that a couple of times she's not been able to show up because she was engaged in her
Wow. Yeah, so it's like it's this rebirth, right? And creating a sense of hope for everyone, and also motivation and excitement, right, around the community that you live, which then drives these economic results for everybody. How do you see, like, what is the vision for mamas? How do you think that bringing these younger and older women, especially in your particular community and perhaps other rural communities, can really help drive that sense of hope, of reimagination through dreams, and be a pathway to really rebuild some of the economies that really have been destroyed because of some of these issues that are happening around the country?
So we have been in contact with some people in different areas of the county who are they are uh, not so much focused on our little hometown middle school, but focused on their little hometown middle school. And so we're sparking up some conversations to connect with some people who may be wanting to do the same thing that we are. And so I feel like that we're blazing a trail that may pick up some steam across the region. And it's been so beneficial to us just on a personal level that when we share about it, people are like, "Oh, well, I could do that. My friends and I could do that." And so I feel that that is going to happen. And the principal at the middle school, at first when we went in, we were really worried about protocols and doing things correctly and not getting kicked out till we couldn't go anymore or whatever. And so one day I asked the principal, I said, these kids want to hug us. And what is your policy about that? And he said, kids need hugs.
Hmm.
And so we've just been real conscious to give shoulder hugs, you know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and to try to do everything appropriately. Um, but the principal, he told us that he is so glad that we have come because he wants to work on life skills. So in the coming year, we're going to be working with them on life skills. We're going to be doing laundry and washing dishes, and we're going to do all these little skills that he says that he thinks need to be done before the kids go off to college.
It's a holistic approach, right? And it all ties together. Gwen, thank you so much for joining me. This was an really amazing conversation. I learned so much, and I
Oh,
love the work that you're doing. And just seeing how it started, with a little seed and idea, and how much impact it already has made in such short a period amount of time, and now hearing how you're influencing other schools and other mamas, and also adding this new component and dimension to your program is super exciting. So, congratulations. And
thank
again, I'm very happy for you. And it's great to hear everything that you've been able to accomplish.
Well, we're gung ho to start right back going in the middle school when school starts back. Right now, we have a friendship bench that we're putting outside. We're just going to call it the Mamaw bench. And we're going to be hanging out around that bench a couple of evenings a week if anybody wants to come and talk to us. And the kids know we're doing that. So we wanted to do that so maybe they could get somebody to bring them or, ride their bicycle here, whatever. But yeah, we're excited. And thank
That's
you
so
for the opportunities that Cogen has afforded us.
absolutely. You're most welcome.